to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
Joined before the second global MX-5 Cup race Saturday afternoon here by Ryan Hall, driver of the number 76 car. I already got something wrong here. Ryan, thanks for joining us this afternoon. You had one race already today. How's the weekend been so far?
The weekend in general has been pretty good. We were really fast coming off the trailer, our first practice session, our only practice session. We actually were pretty quick. We ran top 5. Qualifying was a bit of a struggle. We qualified 12th. Just got caught up in some oil. Never quite put a good lap together. But still had a respectable time.
Yeah.
Then we had race 1 today, which we were preparing for more carnage. But it actually never happened, which was good. We ran inside the top 10 all race. Ended up after tech and ended up in 9th spot. So not quite what we wanted for. What we actually did want, but. We ended up top 10. We got some points. Car's not damaged, and we made some adjustments for our second race.
Good start.
What has been your favorite track this season so far?
The one thing that's cool about the MX-5 Cup is that it goes to so many cool tracks. So we were at COTA, which is, of course, the F1 track. We're at Barber Motorsports Park, which is home to the team. Our shop is only about a half an hour away. Mid-Ohio, Road America, Portland, and, of course, coming here. Mid-Ohio is where I had my best luck so far. We did really well there. I always loved running at Road America. And I've been coming here coaching for the last 15 years, never raced here. So I'm really excited that we're here this weekend, racing and not just coaching.
What do you find most fun or challenging about driving these kind of cars?
The cars themselves, are not simple to drive. They're very easy to get comfortable with and get up to 8/10ths. Driving 10/10ths in them is pretty tough, and when you're in this class, everyone's car is the same. So everyone's got the spec. The cars are all built by the same shop, Long Road Racing out of Statesville, North Carolina. So the motor is sealed, the transmission sealed, gearbox sealed, diff is sealed. Everything is built to spec. So it comes down to setup and driver talent. And so when you have 30 people in the same cars and qualifying the top 10 of 12 or within 8, 9 tenths. Any little mistake by them or by you, could be good or bad. So, but they're really fun cars to drive. They're true manual gearboxes. There's no paddle shift. There is ABS, factory ABS system, but there's no traction control. There's no stability control. And they do have 181 horsepower. It's not a lot. It's not a little, but any mistake, especially here with all the elevation changes, if you scrub off too much speed, it hurts you going up from turn 6 up to the Corkscrew. So they're a lot of fun to drive.
Curious, kind of along the lines of Mike's question there. A lot of the IndyCar and Road to Indy guys this weekend is saying it's been a low grip weekend. Tire degradation has been really high among the Firestone and Cooper tires. From your perspective, which I'm blanking on, is the Cooper tires as well? BF Goodrich. Okay, I was close. How has it been from your perspective in that front?
BFG does a really good job giving us a fantastic tire to race with. They don't really fall off a lot, and when they do, they're pretty consistent. So once they do drop off from a new tire, they're pretty good for a first race, and then halfway through they start to fall off. But once they do, they don't fall off a lot, and then they just kind of stay their course the whole rest of the race. And those guys are right. It's been a pretty low grip weekend. We're really good at practicing qualifying. Racing today was tough. There just wasn't a lot of grip out there, and we're out there with 4 or 5 other different rubber compounds. So we're out there running with Indy Lights, IndyCar, the Porsche Cup Series, and all the tires don't always gel together. So, we're picking up their rubber, they're picking up ours. Of course, we ran today at noon, which was roughly the hottest part of the day for the most part. So, not that super hot out here, but when you have all those conditions, all the rubber. Scrub tires for us because we qualify in one set and then we race on that same set for race 1. Then we get new tires for race 2. So with one heat cycle tires, not quite as quick as a fresh set. So we're battling the same thing those guys are. We had a little bit of a push in some of the high-speed corners, a little bit of too much rotation, some of the low-speed stuff. So we're going to work on that for next race.
So how did you originally get into racing?
I started off when I was really young. I was fortunate. I started go-karting when I was 10. Dad got me a go-kart to go racing with. It was either that or one for the backyard, and we didn't want to run over the cats and do all that stuff. So we started racing. Yeah. So we started racing, realized early on that we were way over our heads. Took a little bit of time off, just literally drove the car in parking lots, got used to everything. And then once we realized that we can commit to it and do it the proper way, we went at it more seriously and did fairly well. Throughout the years, I just raced whatever I was able to afford to be competitive in. Sometimes it's my own stuff, sometimes it was other people's. And then to keep the skills fresh, I work for a variety of racing schools and manufacturers. So when I'm not here racing on the weekends, I'm working with AMG or working with the Level Up Racing School or something like that, just teaching and driving as well.
So also being a driver coach, explain what you do in that role.
Each job is kind of different. If I'm, private coaching somebody at the track and working with someone, it kind of depends where they're at the moment. So if it's somebody who is literally, they just want to get on the racetrack for the first time, or if it's someone who has been out here for a long time and also wants to jump to the next level or says, hey, I'm off a little bit. I need you to kind of help me out a little bit. And, with the data systems of today, with the camera technology and stuff, it doesn't make it easier, but it does help me out a little bit where we can literally fine tune and see, what the driver's doing. Is it driver or what's the car? Also, when we're on track, run the radio with them quite a bit. And if it's a race, we're not working on so much what they're doing with their hands and their feet, but it could just be keeping the driver calm, giving them updates on their position, what the cars are doing behind them, what the gap is, laps to go, stuff like that. So each job is a little bit different. Each client's a little bit different. You try to tailor your coaching to, what that driver needs.
So again, I'm going to piggyback off Mike's question. Looking at the little bio sheet I have here, driver coaching, arrive and drive programs, the stuff you offer, race car prep, driver development. So pretty much a little bit of everything. Yes. Is there, give us a background on everything, and is there one kind of area that gives you the most sense of pride?
Our shop is Pacific Hall Motorsports Development. We're based out of Pelham, Alabama. We have a full race shop. We do, track prep for all cars, also maintenance work on some other cars as well, but alignments, mountain balancing tires, engine builds, roll cages, whatever we need to do at the shop. At the track, we do provide track support, so you want to go and race and you want to have somebody take care of the car, or you want to have us bring the car to the track for you, we provide all those details. And then arrive and drive. We have a couple other cars, a couple other MX-5s that we rent out for endurance races or for track days. And most of the races are 2 or 3 9-hour races a weekend, practice, qualifying, all that stuff, split up amongst 4 drivers. And, it's a cheaper way to go racing. So you don't have to buy a truck, don't have to buy a trailer, you just show up and drive. And we also provide the same support for this series as well. So we have one of our drivers that send, he brings the car to the track, but we provide most of the track support and stuff for him here as well, and as and coaching as well. But it all kind of comes to what the person wants. Yeah.
I'm going to go completely off subject because right behind your head, I see Godzilla sitting on the table. So what is the story there?
Oh God, I don't even know enough to go into too much detail. As I see Doc look at me with the evil eye in the background. So my buddy Cody works on scene, big Godzilla fan to say the least. So he knows more about Blue's High than ever. So obviously he's big into all the sci-fi stuff, big into all the Godzilla stuff. Brings Godzilla to all the tracks. And we nicknamed our car Godzilla, so it's also been through a bunch of battles and come out pretty well too. So that's also part of the other reason. But yeah, we're kind of they're big sci-fi guys. I'm slowly getting into it, so I'm slowly getting into all the characters and what's this big rat thing with arms and wings that comes out and attacks. Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm learning, and Doc has helped me out along the way. So He's got a long way to go.
Yeah, it sounds that way based on the way he phrased that question, that he might not be too sure what he's saying. But then again, I wouldn't be either. So
I want to go fast, but we talk about Mothra and Godzilla and this other thing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Jack Harvey gave me a lot of grief yesterday for never having seen Star Wars before.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm with you. I've never seen a Star Wars or a Star Trek, and I'm not.
Nope, me either.
I guess you do something like this with your hands, and that's one of them. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I can't say I've ever seen it.
Yeah, the look on Jack Harvey's face is one of the highlights to me, like of the entire season, is the moment of disbelief. And then he went, "Well, what about Harry Potter or anything?" I'm like, "No, I got nothing for you, man. I'm completely useless in this conversation right now."
Born, okay, watched all.
Yep.
Yeah. Goodfellas, Scarface. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. Horror movies, especially bad horror movies on Netflix, they love to give me grief about that.
Especially this time of year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing some different Southeast Conference gear and colors and stuff in here. How do you guys get along during the football season?
Me being from Connecticut, I don't really know what college football is. But Doc is a big Alabama fan, of course. Exactly. So when I stay at his house, I stay in the Alabama room. Blake, he's from Florida. I think he's a Gators fan. But they all talk smack during the year, and we hear all about it. I'm just like, I like watching the games, but I don't know. I don't really have a favorite.
Let me think of a good racing question here. So, obviously you guys are part of the IndyCar series where most of the races you're at. Do you get to enjoy the IndyCar races when they're actually racing? And part B to that would be, has there been a favorite IndyCar race of yours this year that you've watched?
That's a good question. This year I haven't been able to watch a whole lot of them. Usually by the time their race goes on, we're usually getting ready to tear down and stuff. So we kind of hear what's going on in the background, but we haven't been able to pay too much attention to it, unfortunately. In years past, I've done a lot of work with Schmidt-Peterson, just doing some promotional stuff for them. We did a lot of work with the Sam card and the Sam experience, and also giving paddock tours and stuff for the team. So last year, I was around the team quite a bit with James, with Wickens and those guys, and it was really cool. That was actually the first year I was able to really follow it and be at all the races, actually watch the races. With the job, it's tough because I'm usually away on the weekends. So I kind of catch up what's going on. I have some idea, but even when I'm here at the track and all the racing is going on, I don't really have a clue of who's doing what until I check the internet that night and see who did what. So I don't know if I have a favorite race of the year because I haven't really been able to see too much of them, but
seems fair to me.
Exciting to watch this year for sure.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Do you have any interesting superstitions?
Well, I've acquired enough Nomex over the years, so I have ones that I wear on practice and qualifying days, and then it comes to racing, I switch over to different socks and a different shirt. And I don't know why I do that, but it's also like I got 2 or 3 pairs, and I was able to do that rather than wearing the same smelly pair. But now I do it religiously. I wear the same ones for each practice session or whatever. Other than that, I mean, I don't know if I do too much weird. I don't really eat a whole lot during race days. I just get nervous. I don't eat a whole lot. I'll snack, have breakfast, but until the race is over, I won't do much. I'm sure some of the other IndyCar drivers probably have a more intense regimen of sleeps and workouts and stuff like that, but I switched from Budweiser to Bud Light during the season, and after this weekend I can go back to Budweiser. So
I think that's going to be our episode title, is I switched from Budweiser to Bud Light during the season. That's fantastic.
Well, that just kind of sums up what this kind of racing is family and small operations and beer decisions and things like that. I mean, just from that part, how enjoyable is doing what you do?
It's so much fun on every level. Like I said, we're fortunate. We're one of the smaller teams in the paddock. Some of the other teams have 4, 5, 10 drivers. We have 2. So we kind of bring back what this kind of racing is supposed to be about. Kind of small teams, entry level pro series, big organizations. So for us in general, it's just a lot of fun to be here. It's an entry level pro series, but the competition this series is just as good, if not better, than any other pro series out there. With all the cars being very equal as much as they can be. Like I said, it just comes down to driver and setup. And so many of the guys are really talented. A lot of the guys that are running now at IMSA and running a lot of the other programs and prototypes and everything, they've all come through this series at one point, or a lot of them have. So, if you can do well in this series, you can do well anywhere. And for us just to be a part of it, working with Mazda, working with IndyCar and Anderson Promotions, it's been a lot of fun for us, and allows us to bring people into our development series, with the other cars, with the endurance stuff, and then bring it along to here eventually, which looks like it's going to happen next year with a couple of our drivers.
Cool. We'll wrap it up with one more round each and let you get ready for race number 2 here. If you had to pick one track that you've never raced at, that you're going to race at, what track is it going to be?
That's a good question, because I was just talking to my dad about it the other day. We were talking about the tracks that I've driven and not driven. I've been fortunate to drive just about most of the ones here in the States anyway. So if we're staying somewhat local here, I'd love to go and race Mont Tremblant up in Canada. Driven there a bunch and back when I worked with Skip Arbor a long time ago, but that'd be a track where I'd love to go and race, especially with these cars. It'd be a lot of fun. Absolutely.
So we asked Ray Hall earlier what it feels like in an IndyCar to go through the corkscrew. What's it feel like in one of these?
It could be tame or it could be really scary depending on how fast you go into it. The corkscrew itself actually isn't that bad. It's awkward because you're kind of braking on an angle, and of course the dip itself, the corkscrew, is awkward, and once you get used to it, it's not too bad. But turn 9 afterwards is the one that really gets you. It's really fast, it's downhill, the grip falls away from you, and the track tightens up as you track out. So if you're just a little bit off, you're a little bit off your turning point, or you're just a little bit too much speed, it's very easy to overdrive and end up way out there outside turn 9. But the corkscrew's a lot of fun. For us, it's just one downshift down the third gear, maybe second if you're passing somebody. You have to sometimes do a little tap of the brakes just to make sure you don't get any pad knocked back from using rumble strips from the corner before. The biggest thing there is just watching your inside, because people can get overzealous if they get the good run up the hill and try to go the inside and do something silly, especially toward the end of the race. But it's a lot of fun. You aim for a tree as you're heading down for a split second. It's kind of your target for a very brief second. At least give you something to aim for before you head down the hill. But it's fun in any car.
So going off Mike's question, so of all the tracks you've run in the country, if you only had one more race to run in your career, which of the tracks would that be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'd have to say Lime Rock. It's my home track. There's so many good tracks in this country, and it's so hard to narrow down which one's your favorite, which would you really want to run at. But if we had to run one more race and that was it, I'd have to run Lime Rock just because it's my favorite. And I haven't done any of the pro races there. I've raced there a bunch for years. I haven't done any pro stuff, so it'd be good to go back during Labor Day weekend or like a Memorial Day weekend race and go there and do something. But hopefully that's not coming soon.
Awesome. Well, listen, best of luck in the racing in an hour or so here, and hopefully we see you out here again in 2020.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.